Welcome to Life After Divorce, Honest Conversation for Women podcast. I'm Fiona May. This podcast is for women navigating separation, divorce, or the rebuilding that comes after, especially if you're feeling uncertain, emotionally tied, or questioning who you are now. Divorce changes more than a relationship. It can change your confidence, your identity, and your sense of what the future holds, even when the direction was the right one. Here, we have honest, grounded conversations about what life after divorce really looks like, emotionally, practically, and personally. Some episodes are conversational between myself and my co-host, Sandra Lee. Others include inspiring women and trusted experts who understand this chapter of life deeply. This space isn't about fixing you because you're not broken. It's about support, clarity, and reminding you that you're not alone as you move forward. I'm so glad you're here. Let's jump in and start with today's episode. How are you all going? I'm super excited. Today we're going to talk about how to know if you're healed. Now that's a big question, isn't it? Because for so many ladies after separation or divorce, they actually do think they heal. And a lot of ladies think that they heal because it's been a time period. The journey of healing after heartbreak goes deeper than we truly believe. I believe it's one of the hardest things, if not one of the hardest thing that many of you are ever going to go through in your life. Most of us believe that when our emotions have stabilized and we've stopped crying or we've stopped being mad or sad or whatever it is that came up for you, that you're healed. And no, that's not necessarily true. True healing involves both an emotional and a cognitive shift. And it's about moving from being reactive to being able to respond in a positive, aware way. So you actually understand and you have process. So it's thinking, it's feeling, it's actually processing, and then it's being able to move on. So let's explore the genuine healing tools and what they look like and what we need to do to be able to get the emotional release so we can actually move on in a healed state after separation and divorce. So I'm just going to share my screen here with you and we will jump in and have a look at some of these misconceptions and some of the things that might be holding you back. So the healing illusion. This is a common misconception because most people think when they have run out of tears, when they've stopped crying, when they've started to be able to breathe again and process and they're back at work, they think that they are healed and they think that the emotional release is just a temporary relief. It's not necessary to be able to just move on. I don't believe we just move on. Everyone tells you to do that. And I know that a lot of ladies just bully their way through and they just pretend that they've got it all together. In our experience, a lot of ladies go home at night time and they fall on the couch after having to have worn their mask all day and they cry. They're sad. The house that once was full of life and looked full of laughter and love is suddenly quiet. And very often it's just them at home. Kids move on. Everyone has their life, and coming home to an empty house, a packet dinners and watching TV is really no way to live. So we want to really dig in and see how you're processing your pain, how you have actually dealt with the sadness and the devastation and the stress and the burden that a separation or a divorce puts on us, and how you are actually coping. Because unless we deal with the underlying core issues that create our pain, we can't move on. So just mentally thinking that we're moving on, that we're not allowing it to define us as much as it did initially, we think that's progress. But I want to tell you, ladies, you do not have to scratch that surface very deeply to get a reaction, to get the pain, to get the hurt. So that's not healed. Numbing isn't healing either. Numbing isn't about just being able to hide behind something, we're soothed with things. We need to be able to take control of our emotions, and feeling nothing and being dead inside. That isn't the same as feeling whole and complete and actually loving yourself and have actually processed the whole loss that you've gone through. There's a thing we call surface coping, and this is the very different from what we call transformation coaching or transformation in our lives. Without addressing the root causes of our suffering, you'll find yourself repeating the same relationship patterns over and over again with new people. When you don't heal, when you don't trust, when you don't learn to take the lessons from the past and be confident in yourself, be able to speak up and be able to have healthy boundaries, if you don't go through the process of learning all of those steps, you don't really get true healing. True healing transforms how you relate to yourself and how you relate to others. This is at a fundamental level. So, a lot of ladies ask me, how am I going to trust again? You need to learn to trust yourself, because there's always going to be people out there that you can trust and there'll be people that you can't. But you need to get yourself to a place that you do your inner work so you know your worth, you know your value, and you know that you are enough. And when you feel that you are enough and you are emotionally healthy, then you will know if other people are people that you want to draw into your life and have in your circle. But the problem is, because most people don't heal, they just accept anyone into their life who wants to come in. And often a man who flatters us or pays us attention, we don't stop to think about, is this person going to be the person that I actually want to be in relationship with? And most women, because they're lonely or they're scared or they're sad or they're financially challenged, most people bring people into their life who are not the people that you should be bringing into your life. They're people that where you're bonding over your brokenness. You're coming together because you're filling each other's voids. So when you bring someone like that into your life, it feels fabulous at first, but very quickly it starts to unravel. And the problem is, being in a relationship is really hard. So when your relationship starts to unravel, guess what's going to come up? All those past triggers, all the hurt from the past, all the pain from the past, the memories of how you were once treated in the past. You're going to bring those into your new relationship if you haven't dealt with them. One, you're going to choose the wrong person. Two, you're going to behave in ways that aren't as your best self. They're being triggered by the past. And when we get triggered, we know that we're not the best people that we can be. We're reacting to a past memory or something that's happened. So you're going to find yourself not being your best self, not having your best relationship. And if you're emotionally unavailable, or if you're emotionally hurt, or you're a needy, or you're clingy, or you're untrusting, well, generally you're going to attract the same. And the two of you, where you get on at first, you will become very quickly the people that set each other off, because your intimate relationship, that person is usually the closest to you of anybody. They know how to trigger you. They know what your patterns are. They know what your behaviors are, because they know you inside out. And it's very challenging when you get into a relationship when you're hurting, because subconsciously you often sabotage the relationship and the relationship breaks down. And then guess what happens? You get hurt again. And then a lot of ladies will blame the other person and say that they ghosted you, or they abandoned you, or they're emotionally unhealthy, or that they're not ready to commit. But very often it's our behaviors that are actually making people realize that this isn't a healthy relationship for them. There's a big difference between attracting an emotionally healthy man and an emotionally unhealthy man, because he's going to have his stuff that he hasn't dealt with. And we really encourage the ladies that we work with to consider carefully who you bring into your life, who you spend your time with, and what you're doing in your spare time, because all of these things are going to affect how productive and how successful you are as you move forward. So there's lots of signs that we need to look out for. Signs of authentic healing. So when you're truly healed, you're going to notice that there's shifts happening naturally in your life. Healing's an inside job. It happens from the inside out. So one of the first things you're going to notice is emotional balance. You experience emotions without being overwhelmed by them. So as you heal, you can accept that they're on their pathway, you're on yours. You can accept that other people will do what they do. I'm happy to stay in my own lane. You can accept that your marriage broke down and that there's valuable lessons in that you can learn. So your pain is not associated with your past. So painful memories no longer will derail you every day once you've done your healing. So you're going to feel so much more at peace, so much more confident, and so much more capable. And you don't need anybody else to validate you because you get that inner sense that I am enough. Another one that we need to look at is having healthy boundaries. So when you are healed, you recognize what's yours to carry and what isn't. You protect your energy without having walls up. So many ladies that we see, they protect themselves by cutting off, by putting walls up, by shutting themselves down so people can't even see who they are. And sometimes they become harsh and abrasive and judgmental. But all of these things are driven by fear. When we heal, we've got healthy boundaries. We can take our walls down. We can be soft and we can be vulnerable, but we can be firm and we can have healthy boundaries. Another one is we look at is having a balanced perspective, because you see your past relationship clearly. You're not looking to blame and complain and make the other person wrong. You realize that there's two people in every relationship breakdown, and you see the good and you see the bad and the challenging parts. So you accept all of this once you have healed and gone through the process. I think it's really important for women that we do learn why our relationships failed, why they broke down, what part we played, and we learn to take responsibility for where we find ourselves in our life. We don't have to take responsibility for what happened, in that we do need to just take responsibility because of what happened and the roles that both of us played, and the fact that we didn't have the tools and the skills to do things any differently is where I find myself now. And from this place, if I am responsible, then I can step into my power and I can create the future that I really want to live. So you learn to appreciate your past and you learn to appreciate what you got out of it. For me, I was in a 30-year relationship and I got 3 beautiful kids. I got the ability to be able to be self-sufficient. I got the ability to know that I am more than capable of supporting myself and having a beautiful relationship and being able to look after myself in all manner. I developed those skills over my marriage, over my time with my husband. So I'm very grateful for my past. I'm not attached to it. It's irrelevant now what's happened, but I'm very responsible for what I do from this place. I'm not looking to have a story of why I'm here. I don't have that story anymore because I healed. I have a story of who I am, what my future is, what I'm capable of, and what I'm out there creating. And that fills me up. It's much more positive. So you want to actually get to a place that we package up our past and we put it behind us and we leave it there. And I can see my ex, we can have family events together, weddings and christenings. And actually was just speaking to him yesterday because we've got a grandson's birthday in a couple of days and we're all going in and putting money in together for a present. These things allow us to continue to be a family. We're a divorced family, but that doesn't mean we can't be a family. We can continue to be respectful to each other. We can continue to be grateful for what we got out of our relationship. And we can look forward to the past with peace. And the fourth one is self-awareness. You understand your patterns and your triggers when you heal. And that's really important because if you don't understand what's triggering you, you react and you catch yourself before repeating those old patterns. So if you're not reactive, then you feel much better about yourself. Other people around you will feel much better about you. When ladies are really reactive, we call them prickly because you don't need to do very much to upset a woman who is hurting or is going to be triggered all the time. And they're very hard to be around. And very often, because they're not getting the love and support that they need, their walls go up, they cut people off. That's really sad. We hate to see that because if we don't heal, we end up cutting ourselves off, being lonely, losing friends. And so often we see ladies lose love unnecessarily from their friends, from their old couple friends, from relatives, even from their children. They lose love unnecessarily if we don't heal. So that's one of the real reasons that we need to heal so we can continue to be loving and have the relationships that we truly want. So there's inner work we need to do, ladies. We need to identify our core beliefs and we need to examine the beliefs that we found in our childhood that may be driving your relationship choices. So remember, I always say that everything starts in our childhood, regardless of if you had a great family or if you had a troubled or a dysfunctional family. No one leaves or escapes childhood unscathed. So we need to understand our attachment patterns and how we relate to other people because we discover how our attachment style influences how we connect and how we actually relate to other people. We need to process our grief because divorce can be very sad and very devastating. I felt like I lost my identity. I lost my family and who I was and what we stood for. And my kids also lost their identity when their dad left as well. And this was a rebuilding process, and we have to grieve. And there's still sadness that comes up sometimes, but it's when we heal, it's an acceptance of that was a sad thing, but I don't live in that place every day. So we need to move through all the stages of grief and not just the emotional release. So we can't just cry and get over it. We actually have to do the processing. So our tears are just a release of our emotions, but we need to be able to have done the work underneath them to understand that. So there's stages of grief that we need to go through. And we need to develop our self compassion because most women are so hard on themselves. We're harder on ourselves than anybody else would be on us. So we've got to replace those harsh self criticisms with genuine understanding and kindness towards ourselves. We've got to learn to love ourselves at a core level. I know that a lot of people feel like I'm not enough and can't do this and I can't do that and I'm not as good as other people and they compare themselves. And we've got to learn to love ourselves and accept all the beautiful things about us. And we need to also accept the parts of our personality that we want to work on, that we know aren't the best, or we know that we can develop further. So, loving ourselves at a core level is really loving ourselves whole and complete with all of our greatness because we've all got some shit bits, but we've also got lots and lots of greatness. So, loving ourselves in a healing process is actually loving the whole of us. So, this inner work transforms the question from why did they hurt me to what can I learn from my past, from my experience, and how can I use that, what I learnt, to make sure that I move forward in a way that is going to be for my higher good and is going to give me the tools and the skills so I can create the future that I want to be living. That's a much more powerful way to do healing than what a lot of people just think that if they soldier on, everything will get better. They don't think about it, but they find themselves 5, 10, 15 years down the track after their relationship loss and they're living an existence. They're not living their best life. So, the next one we'll talk about is relationship healing milestones. So, if you want to actually heal and grow and become the best person you can be, you're going to have to go through some stages as far as relationships go. So, the first one is like balance responsibility. You can take appropriate responsibility without excessive self blame. You recognize relationship dynamics take two people. So, if you're going to get into a relationship, you really need to understand one, why your relationship broke down. You need to understand what the cycle of relationship breakdowns look like so you can actually be responsible, but you're not blaming yourself. You're not taking on all the burden. You're actually working with your partner in a relationship together where you're co creating a healthy relationship. And I think that's really different. I think that's one of our gifts at this age is to be able to choose the right person to bring into our life so we can have a healthy relationship with them. And to have a healthy relationship, it really takes two people committed who want the same goals, who want the same outcomes, who are both prepared to commit and invest into the relationship. So, the second one I want to talk about is emotional freedom. You can wish your former partner well without resentment. That's what comes when you heal. If you're wishing that they're dead, or you hate the sight of them, or you never want to see them again, or you wouldn't be able to go to a wedding or an anniversary or a graduation with them, they're just dead on signs you haven't done your healing work. Regardless of who that person was, what they did, that's them. But for you to be living in that place of that negativeness, that's not being healed. So, memories of your ex, if they're triggering you or they are creating an intense reaction, that shows that you are not healed. I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions around why we heal. A lot of people think if they heal and they accept what happened and they're not triggered by it and they're not reactive and they're not still angry years later, that it's like they're condoning the behavior if it wasn't good behavior. So then a lot of people choose not to heal, trying to punish their past partner or the memory of their past partner or their story of their past partner. But who they're punishing is themselves. They're holding on to the resentment, they're holding on to the hurt. And it's really important for us, if we want to be emotionally free, we need to get to the place that it just doesn't have any power over us anymore. So we heal for us, we don't heal for anybody else. The third thing I want to talk about is having healthier patterns. Your new relationships will reflect healthier patterns if you do your healing work. So, when you heal, you are going to attract people into your life who also have done their work. You aren't going to attract people from your past or similar to your ex or who are going to treat you badly, because when you heal, you know your worth, you know your value, you love yourself, and you know what standard you're going to accept. So, what actually happens through this process is you lift the bar of what you've been accepting. If you used to just accept anybody who loved you, we call that accepting scraps. You're just accepting what anybody gives you. It's like the leftovers. It isn't the best quality love, support, commitment, relationships, happiness. It's not this level, it's down here. So, doing our healing work actually allows us to be able to lift our standards. So, who we are going to attract changes dramatically. I know this to be so true because I really encourage the girls that I work on, if they're not in a relationship when they come to me, I encourage them to go on a man ban, and some of them want a date. And I say, just wait, just do your work first, go through step by step. Do your healing work with us, because I can 100% guarantee you that the man you are going to attract later is going to be a million times better than the man that you will attract when you're hurting. Because when you're hurting, you're just going to accept anybody who fills the void. When you are healed, you're going to be looking for a partner who meets you at the place that you're at, who can grow with you, who wants the same things as you. And I'm telling you, ladies, that's where the magic happens. You feel capable of vulnerability without fear of abandonment when you do your healing work. You can let your walls down, you can be vulnerable, you can allow people to see you because you know you're enough. You know your worth, and so you aren't scared for people to actually see you. We can't have intimacy in a relationship if we don't allow people to see into me. So, intimacy is allowing people to see into your soul and for you to be okay, for you to know that you are enough. And if you don't, if you still have that little voice in your head sabotaging everything that you do, if you're a procrastinator or if you're a perfectionist, these things are from the past and they are holding you back and they are affecting how you do life. So, healing deals with all of these things. So, the milestones show you're creating a foundation for a more fulfilling life in the future. These healing milestones show you that you actually are moving forward. You can't just say that I've healed because it's been 10 years. And I hear a lot of rubbish out there where people say that if you've been married 10 years, it's going to take you so many years to get over the relationship loss, like 1 year for every 4 years. This is just rubbish that somebody made up. It's not true. You can do your healing work in as quick as 3 months. If you want to do your whole life makeover, like a whole reset on your life, it'll take you about a year. But that is actually learning, growing, applying, adopting, and taking action to move forward. When you do it like that, you get outstanding results. Sometimes, ladies, I think some ladies don't want to delay the gratification. They want instant happiness. They want instant partner. They want instant validation. But the truth is, all that instant stuff doesn't work. And we can't be looking outside of ourselves to get that validation and love and support. We want to be self sufficient, that we give it to ourselves. And when we come to a relationship, then we actually coming to give rather than take. We don't need anything off the other person to actually feel good about ourselves. So, that changes. Whereas if we're needy and we're desperate and we want love and we're insecure and we don't trust, we're often looking to our partner to make us happy. And that's a really unfair burden to put onto anybody. So, moving forward, it's sustaining your healing. When you start to heal and grow, you go through a transitional journey. But as you continue on, because our healing is a lifelong learning lesson, really, we continue to grow and we continue to understand things at a higher and higher level. So it is an ongoing process. Healing isn't a destination, it's a journey of growth and self discovery. And it's really exciting because once we open ourselves up for who can I be? How much more can I achieve? What can I do to really put myself outside my comfort zone? Asking ourselves all those questions opens us up to a whole new world that we never knew existed. When we stay stuck, we live in our little fear bubble. We only want to do things that are comfortable. But living outside of our comfort zone when we've healed is where all the excitement happens. So we need to grow our mind. There's just no doubt about it, ladies. We cannot heal if we aren't prepared to gain new tools and skills so we grow our emotional intelligence. And if you've been around me or you've heard me speak before or you've come to one of our events, we are not talk coaches. We are not going to just listen to your story and let you go over and over again because it's rubbish. It doesn't work. People tell you to journal. What are you journaling? You're journaling your negativity. You're journaling your bad story that are limiting you and holding you back. So I only believe in journaling once you start growing and once you start healing and once you have new tools and skills. Journaling's great, but journaling when you're in a negative place or a place of low self-esteem or lack of confidence, all you're going to do is keep cementing your story over and over again, and it re-traumatizes you. So that's why I'm so adamant that we need to grow. We need to grow our mind. We need to develop our personality so we can actually create a much more beautiful life. I believe we need a supportive environment around us. And it's why I created our community. We've got over 20,000 ladies, and we bring ladies together in every state of Australia because I think it's really important that we surround ourselves with women who understand what we're going through, what we've been through, how we feel, and who also celebrate us becoming our best self, stepping up into our power, not being threatened, not competing, not being jealous. And this is where, to get yourself to that place, you need to have emotional intelligence. And that's why I love our community so much. It reinforces our healthy relationship with ourselves. And when we love ourselves whole and complete, we can love other people. And that's what we see over and over again. New friends, new adventures, and it's just amazing to see the ladies have these beautiful quality relationships. Number 4 is balance focus. We've got to learn to honor the past while staying grounded in the present moment. We need to be able to be grateful and thankful for what we've been through because it got us to this place. And now we have a clear slate. We have the ability to create the rest of our life exactly as we want it to be. There's nobody who's holding us back, only ourselves. So being able to have that healthy focus on the future rather than dragging your heavy weight from the past, because if you don't heal properly, it literally is like dragging a big ball and chain behind you. So you take one step forward and you take two back. You take one step forward and you take two back. And that is exhausting, ladies. That is where you are going to feel depleted. And once you feel depleted and you're not healing and you're in a negative space, guess what else happens? Our bodies start to break down because they're trying to tell you that this is not good. What's going on here? You're not happy. You're not fulfilled. You're living an existence. And I'm trying to wake you up to say that if you don't deal with the things that are distressing you, they're going to turn into disease. So you have everything within you, ladies, to create a beautiful, connected life. And I truly believe you deserve it. This is a wonderful time of our lives to rediscover who we are. So I want you to trust yourself. Trust the journey and find the mentors and the friends and the support systems, whoever that needs to be for you. Find those people that are living the life that you want to live and then model what they're doing, because success does leave clues. There's your path to core healing. It really starts here. It starts with you. It starts with you accepting that maybe there's more to me than I've been giving myself credit for. Maybe there's more to my life than I've been expecting. Maybe I could have an amazing, beautiful future. And maybe one day I can be in a beautiful relationship. I want you to start dreaming again, ladies. I want you to start believing that it is absolutely possible, because it is. You are your limitation. You've got to get out of your own way. And you've got to realize that time isn't fixing this. Talking about it's not fixing it. The only thing that's really going to fix it is us, by doing our core healing work. Look, if you have the opportunity, or I'd encourage you to make the opportunity to come and attend one of our 3-day life-changing events. They're called Reset Your Life and Shine, and we have them around all the states of Australia. So you can have a look on our website or just look us up, Women on Transition, and have a look at attending one of our 3-day events. We only charge $47. So we subsidize the tickets so nobody can say they can't afford it. And when you come to those 3 days, you get to experience Sandra and I explaining all of these things, showing you how to heal, bringing you in community with other amazing women, inspiring you. And I tell you, you're going to walk away a very different girl 3 days later than when you walk in. Second thing you can do is we pay coaches. So you can book a free divorce recovery coaching call. You can speak with one of our divorce recovery coaches and discover a personalized strategy for you in your unique situation for how you can heal and how you can move forward. And you've got to ask yourself, ladies, if I'm not going to do this now, when am I going to do it? Why am I putting my life on hold? Why am I staying stuck and being miserable? Because I now know that I don't need to. The third part is access healing resources. You need to learn practical tools and skills so you can grow your emotional intelligence and you build your confidence and your capacity to have an amazing life when you start putting some resources into you. And I know you ladies, I know that if this was for your kids or if this was for a family member, you wouldn't hesitate to rip out your checkbook and give to everybody else. What I'm encouraging you to do is to give to yourself. We've done it for years. Success does leave clues. You can see the results from all the ladies who have been out there and changed their lives. So, ladies, I just want to inspire you. Don't waste one more minute. Have an amazing life and use this as the opportunity for you to heal. And I wish you all the best. So, thank you for spending time with us today. I know conversations like this can sometimes stir up emotion. So, if something resonated with you, just take a moment to be gentle with yourself. Life after divorce can often feel isolating, but you don't have to do this alone. So, if you would like some extra support or connection or guidance, you can learn more about our coaching programs, our 3-day events, and our community at womenontransition.com. And if this episode was helpful, you're more than welcome to subscribe, share it with another woman who might need it, or leave us a positive review. It all helps to make more women be able to find our space. So until next time, remember, you're not broken. This chapter doesn't have to define you. It's simply part of your becoming. See you next time.